Okay, yeah, I was preparing a small presentation about my X-Alps preparation. It's really on since I started to think about prepare my body for better performance in running. It was 2008. My goal, my big goal was the Red Bull X-Alps, and my first one, 2009. It was a really big adventure, especially the preparation time was 8 months of huge of things, training everything, developing new glider, new equipment, learn how to run or to walk fast for a long way. And it was so interesting for me, and it was so good experience that I never stopped until now. So the basic to begin the training for next year X-Alps, it's quite on a good level, but it's still to improve. That's why I'm also motivated to do it again. But when I start to fly, um, yeah, it's a long time ago. It was in the 90s when I play with this small wing, and I felt that it's really my sport. I like to do. I want to do. Uh, I want to fly like the birds, and it was so a big dream to do it, and became a good pilot. Then in 98 I made the license, and I tried to fly higher and further and better, and I was really pushing a lot, and I did in average around 200 to 300 flights a year. And now after 22 years I can fly a bit better, and sometimes it looks like this if I'm lucky. And to become a better pilot, I also start to fly the competitions. In Switzerland we had the Swiss Cup, Swiss Championships, and then I made a qualification for the World Cup, the World Championships, and so on. And I was traveling a lot around the world, and I was lucky to fly really a lot in this time, and I won several of competitions. And for sure, it's a nice experience. It's a good feeling, but for me, it's always good to be realistic and think about the next step. And so when I'm watching back. For sure it's nice, but all the medals, they are for nothing. I mean, I have to start new. It's a new game, the next season, the next X-Alps, and for this I will be realistic. And I really enjoy the flights. Every single flight for me, it's a great experience, and especially to switch from the summer to the winter. In the winter, I flew more with the acro wing, with the mini wing. That gives me a new feeling too. And now actually it's spring, or it starts to be spring, and I'm really happy to get the good thermals again. A mountain where I often flew from, it's the Nielsen. You can see this shadow. In the autumn it was sometimes with a nice shadow, and it shows the pyramid. And the pyramid, it's one of the example I want to explain you more close this night, to explain what is my tactic or our team tactic to have a good preparation for the X-Alps this year. The mountain looks like this, and it's for me it's a nice picture to be serious with the next steps. It means to have the goal, the performance on the X-Alps. It have to stay on a good level, and for this I start, for example, with a good basic. The basic means uh, starting in the summer last year, so around 1 year before. I think about the team, I think about the logistic, the budget, what material, especially the glider, the harness, the backpack, and so on. And I focus on the basic training. And then in spring I start to do more intensive trainings. I know what material I will bring, and I do some final tests. And then in the later spring there are some competitions, and I try to fly more more long to get a better feeling. So this is my picture from the pyramid to have a good training time, to have a good organization, to be ready for the X-Alps. And in detail, it looks like this, that I was lucky that Thomas is motivated to do the job from the coach, from the supporter again. Also Jonas, he followed me in 2011 and 13 as a cameraman. So we have the luck that he will do new film and picture to share the X-Alps experience with you at home. And then we know the car, we know about the supporter and partner sponsors a bit better. I know that I will fly with Advanced this all the year, and I do a lot of hiking and ski touring all the winter. So the base for the next success, it's already done. Actually, I do more running or hiking fast. I try to do 15 to 20 hours per week. So this covers around 6,000 to 10,000 meters uphill and around 100 kilometers of distance every week. I switch a little bit the intensity and the hours. So the longest training weeks was up to 25 hours training in 1 week. What I also do is a power training to get the muscles, but this is not so much. This is 1 to 2 trainings a week, around 1 hour, 1.5 hour of gym training. Finally, I know a bit better what's happened with the food. I try to use the food during hard trainings to know exactly what I can do and what are the problems. And then it goes on with the competitions in May. There are several competitions planned. I don't know which one exists, but the cross-country flights for sure gives me hours, and these hours I need for a good feeling. I try to have some small challenges, like last week I tried to do a lot of altimeters, so I covered 14,000 meters uphill. This week is the goal to fly every day for at least one time. I hope to bring it to all the months. It means 1 month in March to have every day at least one flight. It gives me also the motivation to go flying when sometimes it's raining or when it's very cold. It gives me the experience I need for the race after. And finally, I hope to have this pyramid done in May to be ready and healthy to go to Salzburg to the start. Yeah, finally, I have a problem with my finally, it's really interesting to work as a team, because I know that team performance, it's really important in this adventure. And together with Thomas, we met every week. We have a lot of trainings together, a lot of preparation. And this is the second step. I want to show you what I think makes us a better team. Because in the race, we always have to find the good balance between the speed and the safety. It's not all about pushing, and if we go too safe, we are slow. So to find the good balance, it's really a difficult thing, especially when I'm tired and under the pressure from the competition. So we make a very good analysis of the last 10 years, of the last races, and we found that it's always good when we have a point for the next decision, that we have a new tool that helps us for the decision. And Thomas found the boost box. The boost box will be our next tool to find a better decisions. And we already tested in several trainings how it works, how we can manage ourselves. And it's a really good motivation to me as an athlete to have a new vision of good decision making. And if you go closer, we see that we have on this boost box a lot of points, checklists, and things inside, Thomas will explain later, that will help us to find the better ways, to find the better next steps in the race. I explained you already about the CMR, the Chrigel Maurer reminder. It means I do notes on my fingers, on my gloves, and for example, it helps for a better preparation before the start, or also for better decisions while flying. It means to remember in a stressy situation helps to become a better solution. Finally, and this is the third part, is the praxis, to become used with these new tactics. As I thought, in the winter I made a lot of ski touring. This was my daily training, and for sure it's far away from hike and fly, but I was outside and I practice what I have to do next summer. Now it looks like this in Switzerland, where we come from, Interlaken. It's spring and we are very happy to do the normal hike and flies, and it's a new fresh motivation, and this helped to do it a lot of this praxis, the best praxis. And finally, we not always go out in the good weather. We every time go out, and this makes the difference. We do the training as close to the race as possible. It means we have some days saved for training. And for example, on this day, we tried to cover together 5,000 meters in a row. And because it was snowing and it was so windy and it was cold, we hiked up a mountain and took the cable car down. But the mountain, it's Schildhorn, it's 2,200 meters uphill in one ascent. So we had to cover 2.5 times, and it was a long day. It was a really hard day. But finally, we was very happy to do this training because we found different points what we can improve later in the race. And finally, we was happy to did it because we know we can cover 5,000 meters. Also in flying, I was always pushing the limit when I was young, sometimes too much. But still, I do the training a bit as close as possible, and I try not only to fly, I try also to fly, for example, as close as possible to the ground with my speed system to know exactly what I can do with my glider. I think this is the most important key point, to know exactly what I can do with my equipment. And finally, I try to push the level, the limit, but not to be too much in a risky side. And I like when it's like here with snow, I can see clearly the limit, but without problems. I also try to land as close as possible to train this landing skills, for example. And it looks like most of the time it's working, but sometimes it doesn't. And then it looks like this. So it's nothing happened, but the glider was in a tree, and it took me 30 minutes to get them out. But it was a really good experience, because sometimes I go step by step, pushing my limits, and everything is working. Then the feeling came that I can do everything, and this is also a really careful point. And this example shows me clearly that it's not always possible. So I have to be careful for every single start, for every flight, for every single landing, and I have to be 100% focused until the glider is on the ground. This is important. And finally, I'm very happy to push the limit and so on, and I'm sure that we can bring it to a new level. Actually, it's 100 days before the race. It's still a long way, but my experience is that it's very quick, and then we stay at the start line. And until then, I have to be also careful that I'm not damaged and that I'm healthy on the start. And yes, finally, we don't know the route yet. This will become next week. We don't know the weather, but what we know is that we have a new adventure, and this is the motivation for us to prepare as good as possible, to be flexible as possible, have a bit an idea what we can do, but not a fixed plan. Otherwise, it can be difficult to find the best solution in conditions like this. So this was the first input, these 3 points about our training, to have this pyramid for a good structure, to have our boost box as a tool in the race, and finally a lot of practice and also the hard lessons to know what we can do with our equipment. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Chrigel. I think my boost box is slightly smaller than your boost box. I don't have quite that many checklists, but it's great to see how much you prepare for the success you've had and may have again. You know, the odds are on. seventh time lucky or not lucky, you know, given how much hard work you're putting in. So